Hi, welcome to Foreverventure. Okay, I've had a couple of requests of things that I put on the vehicle, and people have just asked if I can explain it to them and what we've done. So I'm just going to go through a couple of little things that you can see what we've done quickly. Okay, what I have done is the Bundutek tent. We've raised that off the canopy quite a bit because I've got an aerial. I don't know if you can see this side. There's an aerial at the back there, so I couldn't get much closer than that, but it actually benefited us in the long run because, okay, I put cloth on the lock so that it doesn't get caught up there, and I slide my step ladder in here. So basically, step ladder. This is not the step ladder that came with the vehicle, or at least the rooftop tent, but I prefer this system. And then that just locks in there so that it can't get out. Okay. Then the other things that I've added on is some tracks, and one of the big questions was, which I'll show you from the other side. Like I say, on this side here, this is actually the front runner roof rack, but you'll see there's actually a join here. What I did is I cut the original roof rack, which was actually from my Fortuner, and I shortened it, and then these struts here, which is this piece here, I actually used them for the rooftop tent over there. Yeah, the reason why I didn't want this roof rack too long is because then it starts creating wind resistance. So I shortened that. Then yeah, obviously I put on a snorkel onto the vehicle, and already on this trip that we've just done to Botswana, which you can follow on the series now, having that made a huge difference to the air filter. I took it out this morning and there's no difference in dust. I blew it out just before we left. We went on extremely dusty roads, which you'll see from the footage that we put into the following series, and there was hardly any dust on the thing. In fact, as I say, I knocked it and I didn't see any more dust than what it was when we left. I did put a sock over it, which just covered up that area there so it doesn't suck in dust, and I put on a bit of WD-40 on it. Then I put on sensor lights around the rooftop tent. The minute you approach the tent in the evenings, it automatically comes on, motion sensor. And I put one at the back here as well, and then one on the other side as well. We've got a solar panel on the top, which it's not adequate, but it's enough just to, we never in the 17 days that we were gone had a problem with a shortage of electricity, so it seems to be adequate. The amount of driving we do and the solar that it gives is enough. Okay, one of the other things I've done is I've put in a drawer system here. Now I've made myself a little stick. You don't need it for the first drawer, but that's where all my spares are. Basically everything that I may need if we break down or anything like that, that goes in there. And right at the back I've got other containers. They're empty at the moment, but you just slide that out. It takes 3 containers, and then on the other side, which is them both on each side of the vehicle, I've got all the tools. And as I say, I've got it both on that side and that side. I'm not going to show you them all, but yeah, all the tools and everything that I may need when we break down are all in here. And then, as I say, there's 3 of them in the length, and they all slide into there. And these are permanently in the car. I never take them out. And then some wet wipes and some soap just in case you want to wash your hands if you break down on the side of the road. Okay. Right, and then over here I've got the propane gas. I always use this for lighting fires, just so much handier. It's cheaper than using Blitz or anything. I mean, in South Africa you're looking at about 40 Rand for this, 35 depending where you're buying it, and I can make a lot more fires with that than I can with Blitz for the same price. So that's how I do it. It's quick, it's easy. If the fire starts to die, just light it up and add some more. Okay, something else that I've put in as well is this safe that fits underneath the seats. So you basically don't even know that there's a safe in here. And okay, so once the seats have lifted up, I've got a lock on each side. It's homemade, I made it myself, so you can't buy them. Okay, so as I say, it's got a lock this side and a lock on that side, and it just lifts up. Nice thick metal. And then I pack all my stuff in here, so if I ever take the vehicle in for a service or something, I never have to take the stuff out. It's always locked away. Okay, then the other addition I've got is the dash cam, which is, as you can see here, the 139. It's not a bad dash cam. Had a little bit of a problem, which I think I figured out why it is. It's the actual dash cam itself. I'm getting black and white images on the internal camera. So that's the one thing I'd like to do, and I'd like to actually put in a second dash cam. This one's got 3 cameras, one in the front, which is that one there. Then it's got the one that's built into it over here, which is them facing the front. And then there's one that I've taken to the back of the car as well. Okay, and then for those that really get irritated, because I know this is a common problem, well, let's put it this way, everybody's complaining that there's no light in the back of the P-series. You've got the ones in the front, but nothing at the back. So what I've done is I've added in this light, which is nice because it's just a touch, and you can also hold it and dim it or bright it. Okay, so that works nicely. Okay, then at the dash, as I say, I've avoided going into any of the wiring of the car. So I've got a point here which I plug in for the two-way radio, and I've got the USB for the Android setup on the radio. For now, the two-way radio sits in the cubbyhole. As you can see, it closes, and that fits inside there. So it's nicely hidden away. It does have a slight problem with this because I can't open that, so I've got to open it slightly just to get that to work properly. But yeah, it's not a major crisis. Eventually I will be changing that as well, and I want to actually make a little console up here and add everything in there. Okay, the other thing I added in was just this little aerial for the two-way radio, which was mounted on the side here. And yeah, so far that seems to work pretty well. We will be seeing if we can get an attachment for the 2 different types of frequency radios that we use. So I actually made, which I'll show you now quickly, inside the cubbyhole here, I just brought in a cable that if we have another radio, we connect it in and just leave it in the cubbyhole. Again, I'm going to make it that when I do that console up at the top there, that it will fit whichever radio I need for the journey. Then we'll just keep it on one cable and just change the actual whip itself. So then we'll just change this whip. Okay, as far as the vehicle goes with the suspension, I've only got a 25mm lift in there, and I just put in extra suspension set up here at the back. It's just extra blades that support the vehicles, giving it a extra 300 kgs on each blade. Okay, then at the back here I've put in 2 USB points, which has 4 points altogether. It's not attached to the vehicle's electrics, so it shouldn't do anything to the warranties. All the wiring that I've added is all things that are coming from the auxiliary battery. It's not wired into the system itself. Just excuse the car, it is a bit dusty and everything because we've been on that 2-week trip or whatever. But these are the other additions I've made. I've got a draw system here. Okay, and that just contains the spade and a socket here, some decent equipment, cutting things, all that type of thing, tire spanners, levers, all that type of thing. So that slides in there. I know most people put this on the outside of the vehicle. I did that with the previous one, and when I came back somebody had stolen it, so I decided not to do that anymore. This side here, that slides out there. Again, it's very dusty. I want to actually put a covering on here that seals it so that it doesn't get dusty. Otherwise, every time we wash it or use it, we need to wash it. That there, I've got paella pans in here. I've got 2 of them. One fits into the other one, and that also just slides away inside here. After this trip, there will be a couple of small alterations, but that's kind of what we're using at the moment. I've got 4 ammo crates that slide in here, and then obviously we've got the fridge slide, which I love. It helps us a lot, and that's there. Then behind the fridge slide, I've got a container here where I pack everything, and there's another one in there which has got a whole lot of other spares and all that, and that slides into that gap right at the back. I don't know if you can see it out that area there. It slides in there, so it uses up all that space. There's no wasted space, and that's where all the battery backup system is. I've got 220 volt going to it for a charger, and if you look on this side, I've got all the switches and everything that controls it here. I can monitor the power here. We're sitting at 13.5 volts now. Got a water pump here, which then comes out to this, and I've got a blower, which is the pump to pump up the tires, and that's got a connection on each side of the vehicle, which I just plug in here and then use it on this side or on that side. It all depends on which side of the vehicle I'm on. Got lights here. These lights operate from this switch over here. So these switches here operate the different lights on each side of the vehicle, and I've got one that I operate directly from here, which then lights up this area while we're working in the fridges and all that. Then what I've also done is I've got this flap here as a working surface, which closes, and it also helps with the dust. So it acts as 2 purposes. Basically keeps the dust out. I don't have to work on this surface because it's uneven. I can work on that surface. If we mess, we just wipe it. Then as far as the bumper goes, it's a custom made bumper. We have had a couple of problems with it due to sensors and all that, but we are working on that. I'm actually waiting for Haval in South Africa to get back to me. They just having a look at why we're having problems with the sensors. It doesn't seem to be the front. We've got sensors in the back that are giving issues, and that sits in this area of the bumper, and the one side isn't calibrating, so we don't know why. So they'll have a look at that and let me know in the next week or so. Recovery equipment sits in a bag here on this side, and all my electrical, the lighting and everything sits in a bag on that side. And then I've got a slide here which I'll show you from the other side. Okay, this just slides out like this. So you can either use it, which it was originally designed for a kitchen, which is in here, and it slides out with all its cutlery and everything inside. but we took it out for this trip because we split up everything, so I didn't need the cutlery and everything. So you can either use it as a surface or, as I said, put the kitchen back.